We are live 364 days a year.
What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How did you not get sushi after Monday Night Raw?
Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. 1,003 days ago, I made a call on Christmas Eve to Clark Taylor suggesting why don't we start a wrestling daily show and do it every single day apart from Christmas every year. And you might be asking yourself, well, who's crazy enough to suddenly decide to do that starting on Christmas Eve? Well, we were, and we did that. Our first panelist today is the man himself, the man I call to make this happen. How are you, Clark Taylor?
I've almost never been happier. Dude, this is incredible. I thank you for everything that you've done to make this all happen. Everybody that's ever watched an episode, been on an episode, liked, subscribed, whatever it is, thank you so much. It means the world to me. This was my dream as a little kid, having something like this. And we're to 1,000. I think it's absolutely amazing. I cannot be more thankful, and I cannot wait to break down some wrestling because we had a heck of a day of pro wrestling yesterday, and that's what this is all about.
Absolutely. It was crazy from start until finish. There's no doubt about that. We've got Just Apart in the comments saying congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching Just Apart. We got Fernando in the chat as well, but also joining us today, we have the person who I believe might just be the longest member, the person who's been at Wrestling Republic for the longest at this point, other than myself, of course, in Anthony Ricciardi. How are you, Anthony?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I think I am probably the longest tenured one other than you at this point, which is wild that we're at 1,000 episodes and just how many things that I've written for the site over the years and how many shows I've been on. I don't know the exact number. I should have kept better track of that, but I know I've been on a lot of them. But I'm very much looking forward to this, and let's get into it.
Absolutely. But something feels missing, especially for this first topic. It feels like we're missing somebody because on the first show ever, it was not just me and you, Clark. It was also another person who's not been on a podcast for a little while, but he is the king of the quiz show at Wrestling Republic. How are you today, Kobe Galanzowski?
Don't worry, I had to dust off the headset a little bit because it's been a long time since I've been on these shows. But it is disappointing that you haven't addressed me as who I am. You've mentioned the head of reviewing, but you haven't mentioned that I am still the king of the WR quiz.
That's actually exactly what I introduced you as, Kobe.
No,
He introduced you as
That was the exact quote.
Okay, good.
He didn't mention you reviewed it.
Okay, good.
It's always great when you're paying attention, Coop.
I had the headset off to do the dusting bit.
I know. I panned out well.
That is absolute.
That was outstanding.
Brilliant.
Yes.
What a way to start the show with another all-time moment. We've got Benjamin Davis in the chat. Shout out to you. But we just had an all-time moment just there. But very quickly, before we get into AEW All Out, I actually want to go round this panel and ask you all what your favorite moment in the history of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast is. Clark, kick us off.
If I have to pick one, truthfully, I actually think my all-time favorite was being able to broadcast from the hotel room at WrestleMania 39. It wasn't even necessarily on the show, but even just setting up the stuff. Where are we going to put the laptop? Where are we going to do the mics? And there's all of us in the hotel room, hunkered down in LA and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't even an on-air moment, but to me, it's something I hold near and dear because, you know, we're just a bunch of kids doing our very best. And that's exactly what we did. And I'll never forget it. That to me, those times is I can't even point out to like a singular moment during that. It's just we're just gonna do it, right? Like,
Yeah.
Wait, and I guess if I gotta pick one, knocking on Chaos and Soul's door in the hotel room next door and going, "Hey, we're gonna need your office chair," and wheeling it in the hallway of the hotel to get it in the room so that we could go. We'd have enough chairs. That I think that's probably number one.
That has to be up there for sure. I mean, I don't know if it's in the vlog or not, the WrestleMania 39 vlog, where like that setup we had, but it was literally. We should have posted a photo of it, honestly.
Oh, do you remember when we were leaving at the last second? I go, "Oh shoot, we have to put the chair back in."
The chair's back.
It belongs in. I was like, "Oh wait, that's not."
They just think we've stolen a chair.
They're gonna think we stole a chair. That's all I could think.
That is absolutely gold. What about you, Anthony? What is your favorite moment?
Oh, there's so many. I unveiled that I bought a soccer team on this show. The infamous Clark and I going, "Let's just leave. It'll turn the show off," because Kobe left the area, and it's 2 minutes of dead air. Honestly, like Clark said, the 39 trip was so special. The first show that we did, all of us together in one spot in Clark's dining room, or what you were saying in the hotel room, you're forgetting one of the greatest moments of all time. We almost had dead air. Kobe literally had to stand there and keep the plug in the wall.
Yes.
One of the shows.
Yeah, I forgot he had to hold the plug.
For a good 20 minutes or so, or maybe longer. I don't know if Kobe knows, but the 39 trip is without a doubt. That is the greatest of any period of time of us doing the broadcast. It was in that hotel room.
That was absolutely unbelievable. It really, really was. What about you, Kobe? What is your all-time top moment?
It's tough because there's so many times where we've broken each other and we've said things that make each other laugh. But I mean, ultimately, I am the king of the quiz, so I gotta mention it. We finally
You mean just now?
I did mention it again, but
finally,
we finally found a format for a quiz that worked. And that meant a lot because, like we said, there's 1,000 days of the WR Daily broadcast, and there's a lot of quizzes that I don't want to say we're not proud of but
no, you'd be right. There's a lot of quizzes we weren't proud of.
The ones that we did this year, and of course, it means a lot to go back and watch it. You can see just the defeat settling into David Sheldon's face, and I mean, it helps me. It helps put me to sleep at night.
You're going full Barry Horowitz heel turn there with the self-congratulations right there.
Kobe comes back on the first show. He's like, "I've got this receipt for Mr. Sheldon."
I got. Wait, are we forgetting the time that Kobe went on the show and treated like Ben was in like critical condition, and then Ben was back the very next day, and I was like, the GoFundMe can go down, which completely broke Clark.
Oh, that was. I had like a bit of a cold. That was it. But that was great. But Anthony, you mentioned it. Honestly, my all-time favorite moment, I wasn't even on this show, was when you and Clark were just there. And at the time, it was only Kobe who like knew how to turn the show off to end the stream. So it was just Clark and Anthony there. And we're like, "Oh, we've done the show. Let's just leave." And it was a blank screen for like 5 minutes.
Ben,
I think we just exit the studio. I don't know how to end the show.
Ben, you should really post that as one of the greatest reels because that you should post that because
the button.
It's the greatest thing because Clark nails the finish and then goes, "All right, Kobe, cut the show. Come on, Kobe." Like he literally under his breath, and then Clark's like, "Let's just both leave. It'll shut it off. We're both ending." And then it's like 3 minutes of dead air when Kobe comes back from wherever he went because he figured these two are not going to shut up. I got plenty of time to go to the bathroom and come back, and they'll still be talking, and we weren't.
For Murphy's Law. Most times I would have enough time to go to the bathroom. The one time I do go to the bathroom, Yeah, of course.
That's not
finish
even
on
what
time.
it was, Kobe. You were teaching a class.
No, I went to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom.
It was bathroom.
Oh,
It
it'd
was
been
the
better if you were
bathroom, and
teaching
then
a
I-
class.
I thought you were teaching
No,
a class
no,
at
no.
the time, and you were like, "Oh
No,
shoot,
no.
There was
Sorry, kids, I've got to quickly shut off a broadcast.
yeah."
There was also the one where I dropped the line where we were covering Anarchy in the Arena, and I said, despite everything Jack Perry put Tony Khan through, he still had the time to teach Jack stop, drop, and roll down the ramp, which also completely broke all of you.
Oh my gosh. There's a guy over on Instagram, Erit Hazabani, who wants us to acknowledge Roman. So you know what? Just for you, we will acknowledge Roman Reigns, the tribal chief himself. We got
We did that
Rick
at Disneyland.
Taylor.
We did that
That's
at Disneyland.
true. We did do that in. We
There's,
all wore
there's
Whitney the
photographic
One
proof of
Spot.
that.
That there is.
That was one of the wildest things we've ever done.
Rick Taylor in the comments. Congrats, WR crew. Thank you so much. I think therefore I Lamb is also in the chat. Thank you as well,
Thank you.
Mr. Lamb. And he thinks that the top moments was when that guy who does a Macho Man impression was on.
Him. We
It's
love
competition for
that
Kobe,
guy.
for
Who
self-congratulations.
is that guy? He's good.
Great.
We should
great.
get him
Here's
back
last
on the
name,
program.
Brian Lamb, clearly. But
We should consider getting him back on the program.
You should talk to HR about that.
I think we
Obviously,
should.
the fans are into it.
Without further ado, guys, let's get into the show, shall we? And let's kick things off with the reunion between Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, because they teamed up for the first time. Well, not for the first time in years. They teamed up a few weeks ago, but they teamed up once again to take on FTR. This was a dream match for everybody involved, and it really was that. It was really, really fun. For me personally, the finish did feel a little bit flat. I didn't expect it to be the finish, and I don't think the crowd did either. But after the match, what happened then was what really made the headlines, because Beth Phoenix, now known as Beth Copeland, debuted in AEW, but she was very quickly taken out by FTR while Edge, Adam Copeland, was handcuffed to the ropes. Clark, this was absolutely brutal.
I hate to admit this. I loved everything about it. I was like, they're gonna spike pile driver as soon as she appeared. That was my initial reaction. I was like, no way. This could never happen elsewhere. This could never happen like in any other era. But they're absolutely, we know outside of the ring and whatnot in North Carolina, FTR are the guys that absolutely helped Adam Copeland return from his long-term injury. As well as even Christian Cage, the personal relationship, the personal friendship. They were name dropped on WWE television before Adam Copeland ever stepped foot in an AEW ring. For them to then spike pile driver a newly arriving Beth Copeland, who looked like she's not missed a beat since she's been in the ring. I could not ask for more out of it for a reunion between these two. I think ENC are arguably the greatest heel tag team of all time, but working as baby faces in this scenario, handcuffed to the ropes as his wife gets absolutely spiked. I honestly, the only complaint would be, and you mentioned it, the finish felt a little bit like, wait a minute. Like it didn't seem like it was supposed to happen that fast. But it did. At the end of the day, I really don't have any complaints, though, because now I want more. I want more of FTR and Cope and Christian.
And we certainly are going to be. I mean, that is the guarantee after watching that match. There's no doubt about it. Fernando Zayas says FTR made it very personal, and that is an understatement, I do have to say. But, Anthony, what was your thoughts?
I thought it was a solid match. It was great seeing Edge and Christian back together again after all these years tagging. I thought it was an overall pretty decent match. I didn't like the finish as much because, Edge ate two Shatter Machines, or Adam Copeland ate them, and then quickly hit a spear. Like that didn't seem to like really fit. I think if Christian would have got hit and then Edge came out of nowhere and then took him out and got the win, that would have been fine. It was great seeing Beth back. I knew the moment she went out there, I'm like, oh yeah, she's totally getting taken out with like a pile driver or something. The only negative I would say is Adam really didn't struggle getting that cuff off. Like there was no like real effort from him to get it off. It was only like Beth, which I thought that was a little missing, but I loved Beth kissing him and going, "I love you," because she knew she was about to get slaughtered. But you're going to see more of it, and that's what you want. This was not a final match for any of these people involved. Could have been, just based on the setup in Toronto, Edge and Christian, some of their best friends, doing one final match was a possibility. Is it their last match in Canada? It could be. We don't know. We don't know how much longer they're going to go. But I thought it was a solid opening to a pay-per-view, I thought.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that one. And I also do agree with you as well, Anthony, about Beth Phoenix when, she kissed him and then ran. It reminded me of something out of like a zombie film or The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Where they like say to a loved one, "I love you," and go out swinging. They're
Yes.
trying to stay alive, but they know they're probably getting killed off. This is just one final fight.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I think, like I said, Adam, I don't think sold it as much prior to, other than like run. Like there was no real effort to try to get the cuff off. Like, shouldn't you be, I don't know, reacting a little bit more?
I don't disagree.
I understand where you're coming from, but the one thing that I will say about the way that he did sell it, I did feel like he sort of, it was, at least facial expressions wise, made it at least appear as if it was like I'm stuck and I know it. So I think that was more his focus as far as selling the handcuff part of it, right? Was like, oh, I know I can't do anything. So he almost kind of like a deflated look. But I do understand where you're coming from, because like at the end of the day, it's
if it's a loved one,
I think it's like no way,
yeah,
right? And you'd rip it. He sold it in a way that was more like I feel defeated.
One day, I think somebody who gets handcuffed to these ropes needs to try and, like, in desperation, try and chew the ropes or something. Just absolutely delusional. I'm shocked nobody's done that, actually.
George Adams still chew turnbuckle pads, but not the rope.
Just trying anything to get undone. But Kobe, what about you? What did you think about this match?
The thing is I share similar sentiments to what's been said already, where this was the appetizer to what's to come. That this was a first-time dream match, Cage and Copeland wrestling in Toronto as a tag team for the first time in 24 years. This wasn't the end-all be-all, and that was very obvious with the post-match angle. I kind of joked around being like, what is this going to be, the blood and guts CNC versus FTR and then whoever represents whatever, Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian. I don't think that is what's coming here, but I do think like there is going to need to be someone who kind of helps and comes to the aid of CNC. If this is where we get Brodito involved and how we can get FTR, CNC, and then Brodito as the title picture, I think that's where there is the room for this to evolve into, because they're outnumbered. And if I don't know who's going to be the one to feud with Beth Phoenix, because she's not going to wrestle Mother Wayne. She's going to be the muscle that can take out Stokely like she did in the match. I don't know. I don't know where this goes, but I do think this is interesting because we need someone to help Cope and Christian.
That is absolutely true. And yeah, I mean, you are joking about blood and guts, but I do think it's possible, because we haven't seen this match that's been so long. Jon Moxley, as we'll get into, was set on fire. So, I mean, look, it's possible.
Honestly, you know what I can honestly say, and this is going through the archives of moments. They once did a match where Chyna was handcuffed to Sergeant Slaughter at ringside to prevent her from interfering. I want to see Beth handcuffed to Stokely at ringside, because I think Stokely will make this absolutely hysterical.
Honest to goodness, that's the call of the century, Anthony. I didn't even think about that match. I haven't thought about it in years, but dude,
it was Hunter and Owen Hart.
Electric. Yeah, it was Hunter and Owen and
Unforgiven, I believe.
Unforgiven.
No, that was the cage. That was a shark cage.
That's correct. Sorry, excuse me, but I mean, dude, spot on there. I handcuffed to something, right? Get that involved. Great throwback call.
Absolutely. I'd love to see that happen. That is for sure. But monster shout out to Kobe Galanzowski for joining us for that first topic. Make sure to check out his reviews on the Wrestling Republic website. And also, Kobe, the quiz is coming back soon. You are going to have to defend your crown in the near future.
Before he goes, not to be a sap, but I do also want to thank him for everything he's done for the daily broadcast.
Absolutely.
Because there's no doubt that we're not here without Kobe Galanzowski. Love you, kid. You're the man.
Absolutely. I mean, Kobe one time, right? This is a true story, guys. First year university, I was like, I don't know whether or not I can continue Wrestling Republic or not. This man jumped on a Zoom call with me and he like talked me right back into it. He got me hyped up. Absolute monster shout out. The legendary Kobe Galanzowski. Have a good one, Kobe.
He's my favorite Canadian. Take that, Donnie.
Wow. Oh, just dissing Donnie now. Out of the gates.
Stray shots are going all over the place today.
We got Biggs in the chat as well. Shout out to you. Now, without further ado, let's move on to the next topic. Let's talk about MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, because literally, I think it was 17 hours before this match, he was in Mexico having what a lot of people are calling a 5-star classic against Mystico in a title versus mask match. It was fantastic. He lost that title. He then went over to Canada, a long flight, allegedly didn't sleep on the flight. I mean, it's up to you whether or not you want to believe that. But he then had this match with Mark Briscoe, and I'll tell you what, it must have woken him up because this was absolutely brutal. I mean, Clark, I want to get your thoughts on it.
It woke me up. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee right now. I watched it in a hotel room, and they brought the thunder last night when it comes to MJF and Mark Briscoe. It's funny because we talk about storytelling with AEW often, right? This was good storytelling. This Mark Briscoe rivalry with MJF has been set up over the course of many months, and we got our real payoff. The amount of thumbtacks in their shoes made me nervous. And head first, Jay Driller? You kidding me? Whatever the cleanup on aisle 5 was, as soon as they both got backstage, I imagine was out of this world because these two dudes went Ken Griffey Jr. 1997 slugfest. Like, it was as stiff as a match can be worked. I don't know about the MJF sleeping or not. I don't know if he slept well last night. If you end up being a porcupine, how are you supposed to sleep at night when it comes to that? I'm not sure he slept yet. Maybe by now he's taking a nap, probably on his stomach, considering where all the tacks were in his back and on his legs and whatnot. Even if he got any sleep, it's on his stomach. I love Mark Briscoe going over here. It does feel a little classic, old school sort of, I don't want to say old school booking, but I'm pretty confident Max is our next world champion. So he takes the loss to Briscoe here and we work our way back there. But that's just where I'm at on it. And I enjoyed every second of it, though. This is right up my alley. You know me. I like a little bit of blood and guts. Speaking of blood and guts, right? Like I like I like it to get a little edgy and a little dicey. And Max and Mark went out there and tried to steal the show yesterday, and they might just have.
I thought after this match, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, clearly what's happened here is MJF's taking a little break after this. He's going on a honeymoon, all this stuff, well-deserved. And then Alicia Atout went onto Twitter and set the record straight. She wanted to go on a honeymoon right now. They are not going on a honeymoon right now because he's got a movie to film instead. Not yet.
He's overbooked. The guy's been overworked. It makes sense on the lack of sleep when you've got that many things on your plate. It's basically like you and me, Ben.
Yeah.
and probably Ant as well.
But the difference is we don't have to go through thumbtacks constantly. It's absolutely crazy.
Well, we have managed to avoid the thumbtacks thus far. You never know if they come into play later, but
let's hope not.
That's episode 2000.
Yeah, that's episode 2000. We bring thumbtacks.
Bumps on thumbtacks. That's cool. Fernando says this was Mark's best match in AEW. A lot of fun. Actually,
as a single match,
disagree.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I do think he's had some. I think Mark is in a tough situation. Obviously, rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. Just an amazing in all of that. Mark has been in a difficult spot since he's been in AEW, trying to follow that. I don't want to say follow that act, follow his brother in the way that, knowing the Briscoes as a tag team and everything, he's been in a difficult position to navigate out of that because you can't see Mark and not think Jay.
Yeah.
Right. And I think he's done a pretty graceful, amazing job of it because we know he's an incredible professional wrestler. Bell to bell, he's as good as they make him. And I think he's navigated it not only with grace, but in an entertaining and incredible way. And Mark deserves some credit for that.
Absolutely.
It's true with any tag team. Usually there's that one standout talent. And when you add the fact that they're brothers, he's been in his brother's shadow from day one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like well before any of us knew them. So that's a lot on his shoulders. You know, he's essentially proving I'm not just a tag team guy. I could be just as successful. And I know that's probably not his motivation, but Mark delivers it every time he goes out there. MJF with the CMLL match, I've seen it. It is phenomenal.
It's amazing.
It is really good. I was curious whether or not Max was going to come out in the same gear at All Out because he came out in Homelander gear at the CMLL one. I was kind of curious because I'm like, you're in Canada, so also the Homelander thing would work to get the heel heat.
That's true.
But he didn't.
Still plays.
It still plays. But you know, so I thought the match, you know, I'm glad the one of the announcers said it was like, well, the referee clearly drew the short straw to do that match with because I was thinking that myself. I'm going, that's not the match I'd want. They go
so
like
to cover
this,
your eyes constantly,
thumbtacks
thumbtacks everywhere.
Mark,
Is for sure.
Mark taking the tacks in the mouth. I don't care what you're paying me. I would not do that.
Oh my goodness!
And then when the announcer said, you know, you could swallow one of those, I'm like, I was thinking that. I'm hoping he didn't.
I really hope he didn't.
I mean, it was brutal.
That would be at least ulcer adjacent.
Yes, it was brutal. It was everything it needed to be. I couldn't help but think whenever they fell on their backs on the tacks, I immediately thought, and I don't know why, well, probably the originator of this whole thing, I'm thinking Mick Foley with the Hell in a Cell when he was backstage and he was concussed and he goes, hey, did I ever use those tacks? That's all I kept thinking of because they're literally pulling the tacks out of his back while they're like, yeah.
That is absolutely true for
you guys
sure.
got to the tax spot.
Yeah.
We got Zach saying Happy National Batman Day. I didn't know that was a thing, but Happy National Batman Day to you as well. But up next, let's talk about Kazuchika Okada because he retained the Unified Championship in a triple threat match against Takeshita and Mascara Dorado. And this match, it was absolutely phenomenal. I truly, truly loved it. And we were talking about this on the watch along we did. But I do think this must be leading to, at this point, World's End Continental Classic Final, Kazuchika Okada, Konosuke Takeshita, because those two need to run it back, Anthony.
Yeah, that would be my thought. I mean, they're teasing that feud. And at some point, Don's probably going to have to choose one of them. Takeshita is obviously the younger meal ticket of the two for the heel to go with. I would assume, unless they want a babyface run with Takeshita. I don't know. I don't know which one needs Don more. In this scenario, I would assume Takeshita, because Okada is a legend in Japan. So I thought this match really surprised me. Like I knew what we were going to get with Takeshita and Okada. Dorado, I am not as familiar with as a lot of people, as some people may be. I thought it was an awesome spotlight for everybody involved, especially Dorado on a grander stage than he's probably used to getting. I thought it was a great showcase of everybody. It didn't shock me that Okada retained because I do think they are leading to that match, like you said, Ben. I think it's leading to Takeshita and Okada at some point. I don't know if it's a World's End. Maybe it's next year. I don't know if they're going to just keep teasing it, but at some point, it's going to come to a head at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it has to, and I'm so excited for that to happen because there is no doubt it will be a 5-star classic when it happens. And there's also no doubt in my mind that Takeshi's walking out with that gold. He is going to be the one to end this iconic reign of the Rainmaker.
I think Anthony was spot on in his assessment there, especially. But the babyface run is really enticing to me. I like the idea. Can you imagine the moment if Takeshita suddenly just all of a sudden grabs Okada by the arm and hits a Rainmaker himself? The way the crowd would react to that. Could you imagine?
We've seen it in New Japan. Rainmaker into Rainmaker. Omega's did it to Okada too.
Kind of what I'm thinking. And
of the two, I think Takeshita has the brighter future as the babyface.
Right. And you mentioned Dorada. This is something funny. I had like deja vu last night when the match started. Do you remember when Danielson was leaving WWE basically to go to AEW around that time? In WWE, he cut a promo about people he wanted to wrestle, and he said Grand Metalik. He said it right away. Danielson put the stamp on how good he is, and I think he's right, because the guy, you give him an opportunity like that, like he had last night, he can go. And I, speaking of commentary, we haven't even talked about. I know we got more stuff to get into, but I mentioned it last week on the show. Danielson is born to do this.
Oh, 1000% natural.
The best was the Hechicero line. I've never laughed harder in my life. That was one of the best commentary one-liners I've ever heard. Could you imagine wrestling someone like Hechicero? I've wrestled Hechicero. It was so good. I lost my mind.
You knew he
sitting in the hotel room alone, giggling.
You knew he would be good at it because we got a glimpse of it years ago at the Cruiserweight Classic.
100%.
And he was really good with that. Dorado, I would like to see him take Fletcher's belt, to be honest with you.
Ooh.
Oh,
wow.
I just want to see the match, belt taken or not, too. By the way, Anthony, now that you said it, that would be terrible.
I'd love to see the match. I don't think we could see a title change purely because he's not an AEW talent, but
yeah,
they still through the
they gave
door.
MJF the CMLL title and then he lost it. So they're
That's
1-1.
That's true, but the difference is I think the AEW roster is a bit more stacked nowadays. All due respect to CMLL, but I don't think that's would
enjoy
be a fair trade.
I understand where it would be like a bit of it'd be a bit much to, especially since it's the TNT title and
doesn't have the best track record.
Well,
it's a top potato title anyway.
Also, the TNT,
that is true.
It might as well be the Cody Rhodes belt, right? Like
it never really recovered after him and Brody. It really didn't.
It might become the Netflix title soon, if rumors are to be believed. Don't know. But up next, guys, let's talk about Darby Allin and Jon Moxley, because in this match, right, it was a fun match. It was a brutal match, as you would expect with these two competitors, with a storyline of this magnitude and this much bad blood. But in the end, we had a return from Pac, and he costed Darby Allin the match. Moxley hit that coffin shut. They carried him out, and afterwards, Moxley said, "Leave him here. I want to talk to him to make sure he gets it through his head." Finally. And as soon as the Death Riders go away, out comes Darby Allin. He's out of the body bag. He bounces out of the coffin, and he immediately takes out Jon Moxley. He puts him in the body bag. He puts some gasoline on him, and then he sets the man on fire. Jon Moxley set on fire. This was crazy, and the craziest part about this was the minute they started counter-programming WWE. They started counter-programming WWE with Jon Moxley being on fire. I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's a little bit Vince Russo, but in this case, I absolutely love it. What are your thoughts, Clark, on this?
I was blown away by it, and I had the exact same thought you did, too. I go, oh my goodness, Palooza just started. Oh my goodness. And they took the biggest name, besides basically Chris Jericho, that's crossed over from WWE to AEW, and they set him on fire. The statement, it was like breaking the throne. It was a throwback move. I was stunned by it. First off, I'm sitting there thinking, like, where's the fire extinguisher when you need it? But not around, obviously. Like, break glass in case of emergency. This would look like an emergency the entire time. Even the match itself did, with the coffin, the body bag, every little bit of it was nasty as could be. And what I liked about it, you mentioned the counter programming aspect. You knew you were not going to get that type of programming on WrestlePalooza. Not on ESPN. That's not possible. So the brilliance of doing something that you can't or wouldn't on the other side with the timing was off the charts. Mox and Darby aren't scared of anything. Those guys will do whatever it is, whatever it takes to put on a show for everybody, and I appreciated it so much. The match was, I almost felt like underrated because of the fire moment sort of outshined it in a way. And I honestly thought the match was so good. And then suddenly, like, wait a minute, all you can think about is the fire.
It was a fantastic moment. There's no doubt about it. And Benjamin Davis is definitely symbolic when they set a former WWE star on fire the minute they start counter programming. I don't know if that was deliberate or not, but it definitely is symbolic.
It is symbolic. Yeah, I don't know if it was deliberate or not either. That'd be, I think, very difficult to time. Like, let's wait till they go on, then set them on fire.
No, I believe they did that. I just don't believe it was a thing of, oh, he's a former WWE star. I just reckon they wanted, the minute WrestlePalooza started, to do something major to make sure people wouldn't tune out. And honestly, for us, it worked. Because as soon as that happened, we were like, okay, you know what, screw it. We need to find a way to get this up on 2 screens. We're not switching over. We need to see what happens in Hangman versus Fletcher now.
Absolutely, 100%. When we'll get to Hangman Fletcher, but I'm totally with you because I wasn't able to watch everything live, but I was watching Palooza. All Out. By the time Palooza started, and then I got the notification, and so I stuck with it because I was in a golf cart. Watching it on my phone, but at the same
watching
time,
it in a golf cart, that is gold. But that was not the only big moment that was happening last night, because also we had an absolutely incredible 4-way ladder match between Bro Dido, Jet Speed, the Young Bucks, and Hechicero and Josh Alexander. And this ladder match was bucket loads of fun. I really enjoyed it, but let's be realistic about it. Even though that was a banger, that is not what people are going to remember. What people are going to remember is the moments after the match, because the Young Bucks were in the ring, and out comes, out of nowhere, Jack Perry. And Jack Perry starts attacking them. They eventually attack him. They get the upper hand on him, and they're about to take him out. And he just starts laughing, and they're like, what are you laughing about? The lights go out. And this man resurrected Luchasaurus. And it was them two in the ring. They took out the Young Bucks. He is no longer Kale Switch. He threw that on the ground. He is now Luchasaurus once again. The two engaged in a hug. And the OG Jungle Boy theme hit. The crowd was going, oh, oh, oh. It was fantastic. I absolutely adored it. But I think it does, kind of clarify the fact that the Jack Perry singles run was an absolute disaster class. But the fact is, we're back to the good stuff now, Anthony, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, only in professional wrestling can a moment like that happen where Jack Perry's laughing at the Bucks and they stand there and wait while promo package airs and don't leave. Only in professional wrestling does that logic work. No, I'm curious to see where this goes, because you don't want it to just be a nostalgia thing where Jack, all of a sudden, after going the scapegoat route, is back in the Jungle Boy tights. It's got to be a mature Jungle Man, or whatever you want to call him, going forward. Like, it needs to be an evolution. Luchasaurus has kind of been in this weird situation. He had his health issues, but prior to that, storyline-wise, the him and Christian thing was just, at some point, was that going to a head? Like, was that supposed to go somewhere? I'm glad they're at least going, listen, so much time has passed. We're now trying to make Christian a begrudging babyface. Let's not force this feud. Like, we've learned our lesson from MJF Adam Cole. We're not going to do that again. We'll go into another direction. But, I thought that was a cool moment. Obviously, the ladder match was a car crash. It was really enjoyable. Brodito, maybe one of the teams of the year. I just really enjoy them. Bandito's had a phenomenal year. Death Before Dishonor, great match with Hechicero, easily in the running of a match of the year candidate. And AEW needs tag teams, so going Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy 2.0 is not a bad move for them at the moment.
Absolutely, you are right. And Fernando saying it in the comments too, that with the return of Jungle Express to the tag team division, AEW is very stacked and maybe the best tag team division in professional wrestling. I can't disagree.
I'm in the same boat. Like, obviously, we levied a lot of praise as far as the SmackDown tag division of late.
Yes, but that's been the most solid one for the past year.
Jurassic Express is one of my favorite tags ever, and to bring it back, the timing was so good here in Baltimore, like you mentioned, and everybody waving and singing. It's one of those songs that when it hits, you can't help but feel it. I do love it's a little different than the normal entrance music you're going to get at this level of professional wrestling, but I do love the using old school songs the way that AEW does, and taking them away then to give them back the way that Ghost Town Triumph with Hangman, even the way we've seen Jane and what's the Pixie song with Darby Allin, with Orange Cassidy. Where is my mind? Yeah, sorry about that, but I think genuinely, like, that's one of my favorite things, the uniqueness of that for AEW, and taking advantage of that in spots like this make a lot of sense. Bro Dito, I never had on my bingo card. These two look like they were born to tag together.
Yeah, absolutely. Tag team of the year so far.
Yeah, are they like best buddies in real life or something? Like, I had no idea.
They're very close friends, yeah.
It's such an odd couple tag team, but
incredible.
They're so opposite, but they complement each other, which is just, it's really cool to see.
The bizarre part, like you said too, like, is when I first saw him and they're calling him Brodito and whatnot, I thought the same thing. I'm like, odd couple. And then I'm like, they're literally like in lockstep. It makes
incredible.
It is wild how quickly it happened too. And losing a talent like Malachi Black in the House of Black like that for Brody King could have been, dangerous career-wise, to be able to then now suddenly be tagging with Bandito, and basically at this point, I think they're the front runners for tag team of the year.
At this point,
incredible and deserved.
And they wouldn't even a tag team for the entire year. I think that might tell us a little bit about the state of tag team wrestling, but it is true. They've been doing a fantastic job. But talking about somebody who has been doing a fantastic job for many, many years now, Chris Statlander is the new AEW World Women's Champion. And this result came as just a huge shock, I think, to everybody. Basically, nobody on this earth predicted this was going to happen. I was completely and utterly stunned, but Statlander does deserve it. She has been like one of the faces of this AEW Women's Division for so long. She has been so consistent, even with some bad booking around her character at times. She has overcome that and still entertained. And the fact that she's never been AEW Women's Champion is kind of shocking to me. So she deserves this, and she's got it now. But I'm not going to be entirely positive about this one. Because if you lose a title in a four-way match, call me old-fashioned, call me whatever you want, but I don't think it should be the champion who takes the pin. Because if you do it that way, you leave the door open down the line to be able to do Statlander versus Toni Storm, with the story being Toni was never pinned. That way you get this awesome moment now, but also a blockbuster match down the line as well. So I didn't like the fact that Toni Storm was the one who got pinned. But, Clark, what was your thoughts on this?
So for me, I think Toni Storm is still the best in all of women's wrestling, period. Like, it's not even close. And the way she backed up the ramp, stunned, whatever is next from Toni Storm, I could comfortably say is going to be electric. I understand where you're coming from on the old school sort of mindset when it comes to why pin the champ, but Toni on the chase, trying to get one back, I actually think this time it kind of works. And Statlander winning, it's more shocking that it's direct. But keep those two in a program. That's the thing for me, is Statlander, Toni Storm, put it on a poster. It's absolutely gold. And Stat deserves it. We've all loved her. The alien, since we were booping and that back in the day, right? Like, we've always respected Chris Statlander, especially for her talent and whatnot. Huge victory. Those two, all four women obviously put on a great match last night, but at the end of the day, the reason that I would say that I'm more excited for what's next is because it has to be Stat and Storm now that she pinned her, right? And it wasn't like it was a dominant victory in any way. And so you can tell that story. Maybe you have Toni Storm sort of crash out a little bit, as the kids are saying these days, something like that. And I'd be all over that. I Toni Storm can pretty much everything she touches turns to gold in my eyes. I do think that, unfortunately, and I don't mean this as a knock on Stat, this is overshadowed by some of the other moments and matches that we had throughout the night. And also, Toni Storm's been on such a run for the last 2 years. This might be one of those sort of a little bit of time off type things.
Well, do you know what I actually think, Clark, right? Because there was a very interesting social media post earlier in the day from Mina Shirakawa saying, I still love you, Toni Storm. I believe this Wednesday, AEW Dynamite, the important announcement is going to be women's tag team titles. And I think Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa are going to be going after them. I don't think they're going to win them, but I do think they'll probably get to the final of the tournament or whatever. But that's what kind of annoys me about this. I don't think we're getting Storm versus Statlander, and therefore Statlander doesn't feel like the top person in this division.
Yeah, honestly, that's a testament to how good of a run over the last couple of years that Tony's had. If you really think about
true.
it,
that is
you know
true.
what I mean? Realistically speaking, like if she doesn't go on the crazy wild run that we're talking about a woman that in WWE played like a rocker from Australia, and she completely reshaped her career. She remodeled her career in a way that is, I think it's brilliant. I think she's one of the most creative people that's ever stepped foot in a wrestling ring.
Absolutely.
And I'll say it all the time. Yeah. She's
and got to give RJ City credit as well.
Yes.
He does a lot of the booking.
Luther deserves credit.
Yeah, he does some of it too.
It's so fun. Like I'm impressed every single time she goes out there. Even last night with the loss, I was kind of like, shoot. And then I was like, oh, good for Chris, right? It was one of those. That was basically my reaction to the match.
Well, what about you, Anthony? What did you think about this one?
I was surprised that Toni Storm lost. To be honest with you, I wasn't sure that they were going to let that gravy train run just yet. I was kind of hoping Willow would have gotten her just due at some point. I thought that would have been a good choice to take the title off of her. Statlander's kind of have had a mixed bag in booking wise, so I'm hoping they know what they're doing this time with her. Toni Storm is such an over character that she doesn't need the title in a lot of ways, like Roddy Piper didn't need a belt. Like the character is just over. So, giving somebody else the belt to kind of run with it and try to get some cred, I'm completely fine with it. So I'm curious to see where it goes from here at this point.
Absolutely, I could not agree with you more there, Anthony. And Fernando saying that he is very happy for Chris Statlander. He picked her to win, but thought it would be with help from the Death Riders. I mean, look, she did use Wheeler Yuta's roll-up move, so hey.
I didn't actually make that connection. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he came out with her as well.
Yes. Oh.
I don't want it to happen, but it could.
I don't know if I dislike it, actually. Honestly, Stat is one of those physically imposing presences in the ring. And pairing her with the Death Riders, maybe something with Marina Shafir down the line.
Well, I think the logical choice, the only person that can probably go toe-to-toe with her, is eventually Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, now we're talking.
I just want the Death Riders to
the Death Riders need to go. I'm just saying.
I like them too, but
Darby
Darby needs to kill them. He needs to put the nail in the coffin, literally, and they need to do it in blood and guts.
Well, you
right?
do realize
you burned him.
They literally did an endgame finish, and there was no endgame. So I don't know if anybody else can kill them.
No, but I don't think that should have. I think that got the title off Moxley, but I don't think that's the end of the Death Riders. I think that is Darby Allin's job. No, I think that's Darby Allin's job, though, because he was also the catalyst at the start of it. I do think it needs to come full circle, but it needs to happen in the next few months, really, and I hope it's in Blood and Guts.
Could you imagine if he started like the life riders for Blood and Guts?
My theory all week had been that Daniel Garcia was an inside agent and he didn't really turn heel. After last night, he definitely is a heel. But I thought until yesterday. Well, no, but I thought the plan was that in this match, Daniel Garcia was going to know the plan, to Jon Moxley's plan, and he was going to stop him cheating or something. And then that's how Darby wins. And then it leads to Blood and Guts with Darby, the Ops, and Daniel Garcia against the Death Riders. But I mean, look, after last night, if he's now an inside agent, it's senseless because he's done too much evil now. When he was just hitting Darby in the back with it. Yeah, but a chair to a back's not that bad. Darby Allin's the type of guy who'd be like, oh, I can take that, Daniel. Don't worry. For the good of the cause. It makes sense in kayfabe. It does. With Darby,
that's way deeper than I think it is.
He can be like, don't worry about it. It'll help us in the long run. Yeah, almost murdered me. That's fine. As long as I win in the end, we are all good. But
are you watching a mob series with the double agent?
I'm not, but
Ben's been walking back through the Godfather series.
Yeah, he's like.
But up next, guys, let's talk about the AEW Championship, because still the AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page. But Kyle Fletcher, boy, oh boy, did he make a name for himself in this match. Did he prove that he is a main event caliber talent? This match, 5 stars, absolute classic, incredible. But that look Don Callis gave to Kyle Fletcher at the end, I don't think this is going to end well, Anthony.
No, I mean, this is one of those situations where, as a whole, I wasn't that crazy about the build. Because I think a lot of times with these feuds with Don Callis' family, I feel like there's a feud between Wrestler A and Don Callis. And who he has representing him is like a sub-factor that's not as important. I thought this match was everything it needed to be. The match itself delivered, more so than the story prior, leading into it. I thought the match itself, the story they told, the brutality, it came across as a story of going, this title matters. This championship matters. They gave everything they had, which I thought really came off well. The only negative that I would say about this is, and I've said this before, the overdone finish part. If you're going to do a top rope deadeye, don't have it be the setup for the buckshot lariat. Like, either A, have it end the match, or B, have Hangman go for the pin and Kyle barely gets his foot on the rope, or Dom puts his foot on the rope, and then you can do the buckshot lariat finish. You don't do it as a setup. That's a dramatic finish. The buckshot looks not as impressive in comparison. The buckshot looked, the deadeye looked devastating. I felt like that should have been the end of the match. If not, then at least the barely he gets by, then you do the buckshot, if that's what you had to do. But it definitely elevated Kyle, even in defeat. And that's what you kind of want in a match like this. If you're not going to change the title and give somebody the title, which I don't think he was ready for the title. I disagree with Taz. There is a thing in wrestling where there's certain talents, you give them the belt ahead of time, they don't know what to do with it. I think one of the things that's not really talked about much is Hangman, in a lot of ways, whether he says it or not, he has he's looking for redemption. That first world title reign was not exactly great. So he's trying to prove now that he's not just great at a chase. He's great as a champion. The booking was not there the first time. This time, I think it's better. The MJF feud, the Fletcher feud, it worked. I would prefer there's better storytelling leading into the matches, because that's one weak spot where I don't think AEW focuses as much on, and they just go, this is going to be a great match. And they deliver, but like for long-term building the audience, you got to build more intrigue than just the diehard wrestling fans or the diehard AEW fans that are going like, yeah, I need to see the show. Yeah, I think that's the only negative I would say, and I'm not trying to be negative about it, but that's the only area where I think they need to improve on.
I'm actually going to be honest on this one, right? I thought that, don't get me wrong, it was not a great story to your point, but in the weeks that they had, the time that they had, it was only a 3-week build.
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually thought they did a decent job, but especially with this entire thing about Kyle Fletcher saying that he didn't need the Don Callis family, because there was an interesting line, and a line they keep replaying in these promo packages, where Kyle Fletcher goes to Don backstage after Don's recommended him not to do this match, saying, "No, Don, I can do it. I'm going to bring the title to the Don Callis family. I promise you." Then the camera panned to Don Callis' face at the end of that match. He is screwing over that man in the next few weeks.
Oh, absolutely.
Kyle Fletcher is going to be one of the top baby faces in this company very, very soon, because Anthony, I agree, while he's not ready now, I think a year from now, he could well be. But Clark, what is your thoughts?
I don't think I've ever been more wrong about a professional wrestler on this program that we've had 1,000 episodes of now than I was about Kyle Fletcher when I first saw him wrestle. Genuinely, I don't think I've ever been wrong about anybody. He is so good. He is everything he's advertised to be and more. And he put on an incredible show. And like you said, I do think he'll be a top babyface in this industry. It's old school Orton-esque. I don't think a haircut, shaving your head, has been more impactful than Kyle Fletcher doing that. I genuinely, since Randy Orton did when he had the floppy hair and was injured back in the day. But I'm also going to say something even crazier, because guess what? It's episode 1,000. I think Heyman and Adam Page is the best professional wrestler bell to bell in the world right now.
Wow.
Number one, no doubt about it. Last night proved it to me. That guy can go with anybody. Other than the finish should have been the dead eye, like Anthony said, because I could not agree more with that assessment. That was devastating. It was over. The fact that the way they even set it up and got up there in the first place, you were like, wait, where's this going? I was waiting on the reversal. I was like, nope, they're going for it. And both guys deserve full credit. But like Anthony said, that should have been a finish. I'm a diehard fan of the buckshot lariat, but it did take a little bit of the steam out of it. Like, how's he going to stand up to get buckshotted, right? Like, that doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. Literally, other than that, though, this match, like you said, 5 stars, no doubt, every day of my life. But I truly believe it. I truly believe that Hangman Page, bell to bell, is the best guy going in the industry right now. He could wrestle a baseball bat and figure out how to make it a good match. It doesn't even matter at this stage. And, you know, there was a little bit to be desired on the build, but there was enough there between these two that I find it interesting. One thing that I'm a little concerned about is, are we going to get the TNT champion against the world champion every All Out?
Yeah, I certainly hope not. But for this one, I didn't have an issue with it. But that does, guys, bring us to the end of this 1000th episode. We've thanked a lot of people in this, but I want to thank everybody who's ever been on this show. So many wrestling fans, so many opinions. Some we've agreed with, some we haven't agreed with. But that is the beauty of an opinion. And that is something which I believe this broadcast has done fantastically well. Showcase wrestling fans' opinions from across the globe. Sometimes it gets heated. Sometimes it's a nice debate. It depends on the day. But also thank you to everybody who's ever commented. Thank you to everybody who's ever liked. Thank you to everybody who's ever just listened to this show. It really does mean the absolute world to us. We've done 1,000 of these. We're hopefully going to do a lot more than 1,000 more. But we will see you guys same time, same place tomorrow to talk about some of your questions following this hectic weekend of professional wrestling. Plus, check out the Wrestling Republic podcast tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time. I believe that is 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. It comes out. It is available permanently from there as soon as it comes out on YouTube. Me and Sean talk everything that's happened this week. A lot of newsworthy stuff for sure. But thank you guys so much. Shout out to Jack Island. Shout out to 21 RKO. And shout out I don't know. I'm not actually going to give that one a shout out to Brandon as well.
And Wrestle Takes for doing the raid, by the way. That's
Cam, shout out Wrestle Takes. Shout out to you, Cam.
Absolutely.
No doubt about
Anybody
it.
that's ever been a part of the show, thank you so much. This means the world to us. Like Ben said, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in like that, but yeah.
Absolute legendary Wrestle Takes, one of our all-time favorite guests on this show. But thank you guys. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place.